America entered the 2010s exhausted. The country was recovering from the Great Recession, political division was getting worse every year, and social media was completely changing how Americans talk to each other. Politics stopped feeling formal, everything became louder, faster, and more personal. And over the next decade, America would go through one of the most chaotic periods in the modern history. This is the century. By the middle of the 2010s, President Barack Obama had overseen major economic recovery after the recession. Employment dropped, the auto industry survived, and Obamacare expanded healthcare coverage to millions of Americans. But not everybody felt the recovery equally. Factory towns struggled, housing costs increased, and Americans were becoming more politically divided online.
The Obama years created two completely different views of America. One side saw progress and modernization, and the other side believed that the country was changing too quickly, economically and culturally. A lot of working class Americans felt ignored by political elites, and this frustration created the perfect environment for an outsider candidate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States. We need somebody that literally will take this country and make it great again.
In 2015, businessman and reality TV star Donald Trump announced he was running for president. Most political experts did not think the campaign would last very long, but they were wrong.
Everybody laughed at first. Every single one of them. Everybody laughed at first. The media hated me. The politicians hated me. Frankly, some Republicans hated me too. Very, very disloyal people. Never been loyal a day in their life. Very disloyal people, by the way. They all said, oh, he'll drop it in 2 weeks. They never believed in me. Oh, he'll drop out in 2 weeks, they said. Meanwhile, I'm dominating every headline in America for free. Very smart financially, if you think about it. People were tired of these boring politicians reading from tiny little note cards. Nobody even knew what they were saying. Nobody, not a single one of them knew what they were saying.
Someone's at the front door.
I talked about jobs, the border, trade deals, real things that actually matter. All the rallies were incredible. Thousands of people, millions of people, loads of people, music blasting, hats everywhere. Honestly felt like the Super Bowl, then the politics. CNN basically became the Trump channel for like 4 years, 4 total years. They should have paid me, robbed me, they robbed me.
So I remember turning on TV and I saw Trump on every news channel. He was everywhere constantly. And every single day, a new controversy would be brought up. But to be honest, that really helped him instead of damaging him. People were tired of seeing politicians that sounded fake and too polished, right? But in contrast, Trump sounded more like someone who came straight out of Facebook comment section that was brought to life. And depending on your politics, that could either be refreshing or horrifying for you.
Trump relied heavily on rallies and social media, especially Twitter. Politics became more aggressive online, and millions of Americans started treating elections almost like entertainment. One of Trump's biggest campaign promises was building a wall along the southern border. Supporters argued it would improve border security and reduce illegal immigration. Critics saw it as a symbol of anti-immigration.
We said we were going to build the wall, a big wall, blocking all of them out, all these immigrants coming in, blocking all of them out, this gray, beautiful wall, and people completely lost their minds. It was an amazing idea, and then there was an absolute meltdown. You would have thought we announced that we were putting alligators and laser turrets at the border, but Americans cared about immigration, they cared a lot. And suddenly every politician, every single one of them who ignored the border for 20 years, started pretending they were experts overnight. Look at them. Amazing how that happens.
Immigration became one of the most emotional political issues in the country. Some Americans believed that immigration hurt wages and job opportunities, while others believed that immigrants were unfairly blamed for larger economic problems caused by globalization and automation. This issue became much bigger than just policy. It became connected to identity and culture.
In 2019, Trump became the third president in American history to be impeached. The impeachment focused on allegations that Trump pressured Ukraine to investigate political rival Joe Biden. The Senate later acquitted him.
Then came impeachment. Everybody on TV saying this is the end of Trump again. This is the end of Trump. Oh, Trump is not coming back. I heard that sentence maybe 14,000 times. Didn't happen. At some point, impeachment just became another Tuesday in America. Another Tuesday where Trump is back again. Impeachment's back again. People will hear constitutional crisis and still go to Taco Bell 5 minutes later.
The impeachment showed how divided the country had become. Democrats largely believed that Trump abused presidential power, while Republicans largely viewed the impeachment as politically motivated. So Americans increasingly disagreed not only on solutions, but on basic facts themselves.
COVID, what can I say about COVID? COVID was brutal. It was a terrible situation. Everybody was dying. Suddenly, everybody became a medical expert. Your uncle had failed 9th grade biology, was online speaking about vaccine science to the nation. This guy doesn't even know anything. People are making bread, buying toilet paper like civilization was ending. Why are you buying toilet paper? Arguing about masks in Costco parking lots. Oh, those beautiful, big, beautiful red carts in the Costco parking lots. Completely normal country behavior. Am I right? Am I right, folks?
Then 2020 happened. COVID spread rapidly across the world and shut down everyday life. Schools closed, businesses closed, sports stopped, and millions of Americans stayed home for months. For many people, normal life disappeared almost overnight.
Everything felt fake, honestly. I mean, one week we were normal students, and the next week people were disinfecting groceries and fighting over toilet paper. And somehow, masks became political. It's crazy to think that only in America could a virus become a political debate. And did you know that the class of 2020 didn't get a graduation? Yeah.
The pandemic exposed problems that already existed in our country. Distrust in institutions became much stronger during the pandemic. The economy also changed permanently. Remote work expanded rapidly, online businesses grew massively, and inflation became a major political issue afterwards.
Americans spent more time online during lockdowns than ever before. Misinformation spread rapidly across social media, and by the 2020 election, the country was already exhausted. The 2020 election became one of the most controversial elections in modern American history. Because of COVID, millions of Americans voted by mail. Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in both the popular vote and electoral college. Trump refused to immediately concede and claimed widespread voter fraud. Courts rejected many legal challenges, but distrust remained high among many supporters.
After the election, it felt like nobody trusted anything anymore. And every conversation somehow became political from somewhere. And you couldn't even open Instagram without seeing arguments about the next election. Everybody was so exhausted.
On January 6, 2021, Congress met to certify the election results. That day, thousands of Trump supporters gathered in Washington, D.C. Some members of the crowd stormed the United States Capitol. The event shocked the country.
You grow up watching the Capitol building as one of the secure and most protected buildings in the whole country. But then you see people climbing walls and breaking windows on live TV, and it just seems really crazy and doesn't feel real at all.
After the election, everybody in the country became completely insane, out of their minds, did not know what they were doing. Everybody was angry, everybody was yelling, getting loud like some bunch of toddlers. You couldn't even open Thanksgiving group chats anymore. Families were collapsing over Facebook posts. Oh, those damn Facebook posts. Thank God, Elon Musk. And then January 6th happened, and somehow American politics even got crazier than it ever had been, even crazier than it ever was, which honestly felt impossible at the time. Very, very impossible. Yeah.
January 6th became one of the defining political moments of the decade. Some Americans viewed it as an attack on democracy. Others viewed it as a protest that turned chaotic. Regardless of political opinion, though, the event revealed how fragile trust in institutions had become.
Joe Biden entered office promising stability and unity. His administration focused on infrastructure spending, economic recovery, and rebuilding alliances with other countries. But political division remained intense. Inflation increased sharply after the pandemic, and many Americans struggled with rising prices.
Everything got expensive really fast. Gas, groceries, housing, literally everything. People blamed different presidents depending on their politics, but everyone agreed that prices sucked. And did you know that the class of 2020 didn't get a graduation? I was in the class of 2020.
Inflation became one of the defining issues of the Biden presidency. The economy was technically recovering, but many Americans still felt financially insecure. That disconnect became politically important.
In 2023, the United Auto Workers launched a major strike against major automobile companies. Workers demanded higher wages and better benefits. President Biden became the first sitting president to join a picket line during a labor strike.
Made a lot of sacrifices, gave up a lot, and the companies were in trouble. But now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well too.
The UAW strike reflected a larger labor movement happening across the country. Workers demanded better pay as corporate profits increased. The strike also showed how economic frustration remained one of the strongest forces in American politics.
Despite investigations, indictments, and years of controversy, Donald Trump remained the dominant figure in Republican politics. In 2024, Trump returned to the White House after defeating Joe Biden. He became only the second president in American history to serve non-consecutive terms.
People said I was done, it was over, I was done, Trump's not coming back, he's finished, he's destroyed over politically. And then I came back like I always do to make America great again. I'm the greatest president of all time. Historic comeback, maybe the greatest comeback ever, honestly, like the 2016 finals, bigger than sports, bigger than movies. Very unfair what happened to me though, by the way. It was very unfair. But Americans wanted lower prices, they wanted stronger borders, and something more exciting than watching politicians whisper about infrastructure for 6 hours. Because whether people loved me or they hated me, the one thing was true. America was never boring, not for 1 second, not 1 second ever, not 1 minute, not 1 hour. America was never boring, it was never going to be boring.
During Trump's second term, immigration enforcement increased again. ICE operations expanded in several areas, causing protests and political debate. Tariffs also returned as a major economic strategy. Supporters argued tariffs protected American jobs. Critics argued they increased prices for consumers.
Tariffs sound simple politically. You tax foreign goods and protect domestic industries. But tariffs can also increase costs for both businesses and consumers. This debate reflects on a larger question. Should America prioritize global trade or economic nationalism?
At the same time, internet culture became impossible to separate from politics. Memes, live streams, TikToks, podcasts, and influencers shaped political discussions constantly. Even serious political debates became internet jokes within hours.
At some point, politics stopped being politics. It became memes, these Gen Z kids that they make the memes, these clips, these live streams, these podcasts, people screaming into microphones for 3 hours, these dumb people. Half the country got their political opinions from TikTok edits and YouTube thumbnails. All of these Gen Z kids have ruined everything. They have ruined everything. Very serious democracy we have, a tremendous democracy. Moving on to ICE. I love ICE. In fact, ICE should be called NICE because that's what it is, nice. We need ICE because the immigrants I tell you, they're eating the cats and the dogs. They're doing is eating the cats
Deport
and the
them,
dogs.
and what just happened
I went to Asia and I saw them.
were trying
And
to
believe
block
me when I
cars
say I
from
saw
leaving,
them.
and they pepper sprayed us.
I have the
There was
best
a guy
eyes in the
shooting,
world, my friends.
what is it called,
My
pepper
doctor
bullets?
friends told me that I have the best eyes, and when I tell you, these people are doctors. They're incredibly smart doctors.
At some point, America stopped feeling like a country and started feeling like the world's most stressful moonshine. ICE also terrified me. I'm a birthright citizen. My parents came here legally, but it's still horribly wrong what's happening, in my opinion. But the worst part of this term is when Elon Musk, he came and he changed Twitter to X, and that really broke me. And did I also mention that the class of 2020, we didn't get a graduation? I'm just saying. Just putting it out there.
Throughout the decade, Congress repeatedly struggled to pass spending bills and avoid government shutdowns. Compromise became harder and harder. Both political parties increasingly viewed the other side as dangerous instead of simply wrong.
The biggest story of this era may not be one election or one president. It may be the collapse of trust. Americans lost trust in government, media, corporations, universities, and even each other. And when trust disappears, democracy becomes much harder to maintain. Are you going to run for a third term?
Yeah, I'm gonna run for a third term.
Isn't that illegal?
Quiet, piggy.
You need